When life looks okay but feels off, this is where we talk about it all. Hi, friends, and welcome to This Shit Can't Be It, where we have real, unfiltered conversations about rising through all the hard things, reclaiming your personal power. So, whether you're here to be seen, be heard, get inspired, find the tools for your own healing, growth, and your own journey and evolution, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm your host, Anne, and today we're diving in to imposter syndrome to influence. My guest today is Brad, and for years he wrestled with imposter syndrome, constant comparison, and the lack of self confidence. Those beliefs held him back from fully stepping into his potential until they didn't. Through persistence and courage, he broke free from the doubts that once defined him, and today he stands thriving entrepreneur and podcaster, using his voice and his journey to inspire other women in particular to step into their truth. Brad's story is one that's going to turn insecurities into influence and providing confidence and can build from the inside out with love and care. Welcome, Brad. Thank you for joining me. I'm excited to have you here today.
Hello, Anne. It is such a joy and a pleasure for me to be here on your platform. Now the microphones have turned. I'm on the other side of it now because you've been on my podcast. So it's I'm now getting used to being on the other side of the mic. It took me a little while to get used to that, but I'm starting to like being on the other side of the mic. When I'm telling people, oh, I have a podcast interview, I have to also throw in there now from time to time, I'm a guest. I'm not interviewing today. I'm a guest today. So I'm starting to get more and more
Yes.
comfortable with being a guest. So thank you very much for having me and for inviting me to be part of your platform and on your space.
Oh, thank you for coming because you've been a huge inspiration for me to
Thank
even
you.
get here. So
Thank
you've been
you.
a huge part of my journey, and it's been a big journey for me. And the
hmm
fact that I wasn't just on your podcast, but I joined your summit. I think it was
hmm
early 2023,
Yeah.
and that was a big deal. That shifted a lot of things. Like I still have a hard time even talking about that without getting emotional. Because that was a big deal for, and
hmm
like you and Cece both had so many people interview,
hmm
and you put me into a platform about domestic violence, and I'm
hmm
not a domestic violence victim, but my mother was. So I
Right.
had a completely different perspective, and listening to all the other topics and everything that was happening during that really opened my eyes up quite a bit.
hmm
And not only that, that's when I realized that everybody brings power in their own voice, but
For
my voice
sure.
is limited to my own experiences.
hmm
So that's what inspired me to do this podcast because everyone else's experiences are different than mine. And
hmm
there's so many people out there that need and want to hear that they're not alone in their journey in their life. So thank you for being such an influence and
Oh,
powerful
I
force in my world, in my life.
I am absolutely honored. And I just want to share one quick thing and like kind of add on to what you're saying that um you mentioned everyone's story is different. And yes, that's true. But that doesn't mean anyone's story is more important than anyone else's either. I think we need to
Yeah.
stress that as well, that your voice, your story and carries just as much weight as anybody else's, no matter what your struggles have been compared to someone else's. Um, it doesn't matter. You have a story to tell and you have a voice, and that voice was given to you to use. So use it for whatever it is, whatever your story is. It's important that you share your story and your voice.
Yes, and that's so true because there is no such thing as a scale of what your impact is because your impact is impact. People need to
Yeah,
see and hear.
that's right.
And yes, so thank you for clarifying that because you're
Mhm.
100% right. So let's just dive into you. How did
Sure.
you what was life like for you before you realized that these were some mountains that you needed to climb and conquer?
My journey into all of this, I've been a photographer for a long time. My journey starts with photography. I've been shooting since I was a teenager, but the imposter syndrome, the comparisonitis, sorry, um, that stuff really started when I leapt into entrepreneurship. Like the first 2 years of my journey, I would say almost. I struggled and fought through all of that shit. And it was a difficult road. I was nervous and scared to share my work as a photographer because I was worried about what everyone else was going to say about my art, and will they like it? Will they see it the same way I do? Will I get negative comments? So all of these things played on me. Even before I jumped into entrepreneurship, the sharing my work part, I was very, very nervous and scared to share my work because I was constantly worried about what everyone else is going to think. And then that shifted in when I jumped into entrepreneurship full time. It was, well, why am I not where this person is on their journey? Why am I down here and they're up here? Um, not having the self confidence, not believing in myself. And there were so many times in that first 2 years that I wanted to just say, fuck it and throw in the towel and give it up. This is too hard. I don't want to do this. Like, how come I'm not here yet? And it was that constant comparing myself and my journey. Yeah, we all go through
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
My journey as a photographer and as an entrepreneur. I mean, it constantly plagued me. And I ended up um, getting a mentor. And that was probably one of the first steps that helped me see enough of this shit. It doesn't matter where someone else is on their journey because they're not me and I'm not them. No one, when I got that mentor and I worked with him, when I finished my work with him, there was still work to do. And listen, I want to say and be clear, just because I went through that journey now 6 years ago, I guess, because I'm 8 years full-time entrepreneur now. 6 years ago does not mean that those things still don't come up for me from time to time. They're not eradicated from my being completely. They still crop up. I still get those gremlins in my head talking negatively and all of those things. So I want to be very
Part of being
clear that
human.
yes, that it's not completely gone for me. But what I have learned through having a mentor and being further along in my journey is I've gathered tools from people and through conversations with other entrepreneurs, other people in my communities, all of these things. And I've built my toolbox, filled my tool belt, my toolbox with tools that allow me that when those moments do still come up, I know how to turn the volume down much quicker
Mm,
than I did before. When those voices start, I know how to turn the volume down a little bit quicker.
I
Um,
love that.
but it was a hell of a journey. It was not easy. Like I said, there were many times I wanted to throw in the towel and say, fuck this. What am I doing? Like, I thought I would be further along than I am now. All of these things. But the mentor was the first key. Um, and I realized after I finished my work with him and continuing to do the work, because just because you do the work with a mentor, whatever it is, does not mean that the work's done. You have to continually keep at it and keep practicing and keep using those tools. And again, like I said, through conversations with other entrepreneurs, people I met, people became friends, I learned more tools. I found more tools and learned how to use them. But once I got to that point of finishing my work with my mentor and continuing on the journey, I realized, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, the only competition I have in this life is me. As long as
100%.
I can look back on my journey and say, I've improved since last month, I've improved since last year, I've improved since 5 years ago. And one thing I like to do is, as a photographer, is go back and look at my previous work. And honestly, Anne, there have been times where I've gone back like 15, 20 years and looked at my work and I think, oh my fucking God, how did I possibly think that was good? Like that is horrible. But I will say I realized that that's the wrong way to look at it too, because it was good for where I was at that particular moment in my journey. It's not good now because I have improved and I have grown, I have expanded my skill sets. But the real, the biggest, I think, aha moment for me was when I realized that there's no other competition except me,
No,
because no one else can create an image the way I do. No one else sees an image the way I do. No one else provides the customer service for clients like I do, because guess what? No one else is me. And
Oh,
that is a key thing to remember, that there is only one you. You are unique, and no one else can provide whatever your business is. I don't care what it is. No one else can provide the service that you do because no one else is you.
I love that. And you're so right. It's a journey. Like, I have to agree. Like, I tried this evolution thing on my own using free resources online. But what I learned is all the free stuff teaches you why you need more
Mhm.
education, more skills, more tools, because we're humans. We don't
Mhm.
know what we don't know. But that person that's 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6 steps
Mhm.
ahead has
Mhm.
been where I'm at, and they can
Yeah.
help me walk through it faster and easier. So all the free stuff online that I found helped me understand why I need it, but it
Mhm.
didn't teach me the how. It gave me
Yeah.
nuggets, but not
Mhm.
the full picture. And you're right, same thing with me. My evolution never really catapulted until I spent money on that coach, the guide, the mentor. And that's where things really skyrocketed, and that's where
Mhm.
things started to change and evolve. And I don't know about you, but I get addicted to that type of growth and evolution and learning. So, give me a storybook, I throw it in the trash can. Some
Right.
people love that, but for me, I
Mhm.
want I want to get something out of it. I want to learn something from it.
Yeah.
So, give me tools and information that I can learn and evolve in. Help me grow and evolve from where I am today.
Yeah.
So, I love that you said that you looked at your stuff like 15 years ago, but like you say, it was great back then, but you've
Mhm.
evolved, you've grown, and that
Mhm.
evolution doesn't stop until we die.
No.
There's
No.
no arrival. And I used
Yeah.
to that was my limited thinking, is that when I hired my coach, I thought, oh my God, they've arrived. No, they
Mhm.
didn't.
It is a great reminder, though, to go back and do. I think everybody should do that at some point. Whatever your work is. Like I said,
Yes.
mine as a photographer, I will say I have not gone back, and I should do this because I'm speaking about it now. I've not gone back and listened to those first few podcast episodes that I've recorded
Yes.
5 years ago. I'm scared to, but I should do it just as a good reminder as to where I came from. And I also want to say, the free resources, those are great. That's a great
Mm,
starting point. Find the free
yeah.
YouTube University, all of those things. I also want to make another point that starting your journey in entrepreneurship, typically you don't have money. So the free resources are good. And as you get further along in your journey, yes, if you can afford a mentor, great. But another thing you can do is trade resources, work in trade. So exchange, an energy exchange or a service exchange you can do with people too. Sometimes people are open to that. So if you don't have the money, propose a service exchange. Hey, I will share my services with you if you can share your services with me. It has to be a fair exchange, but that is another option. It doesn't always have to be a financial exchange.
And I love that because I struggle with that myself, because I was taught to stand on my own 2 feet. So I did not know, I literally did not know how to collaborate and how to work with other
Hmm.
people in that regard, because I come
Hmm.
from working in an environment where, yes, you do teamwork, but as an entrepreneur, I was like, I have no idea how I can help you. Like,
Yeah.
and that's something I had to learn,
Hmm.
was through that. And you're right, the barter system is still very strong today, especially in entrepreneurship,
Yep.
than it was, because like you say, it's still an energy exchange. And
Hmm.
if it's not equal, maybe you get a discount from
Yeah.
the person
Yep.
versus, having to pay full on. Like, for me, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on
Hmm.
training and coaching. And,
Hmm.
for me, it was, I need the personal development as well as the skill training, because the skills can only take you so far,
Right.
where your personal self is going to limit you. So if you can
Hmm.
get yourself to believe that you're unlimited, then the skills and strategies will take you so much further.
For sure, for sure. I want to be clear too that I'm not saying don't spend money on coaching or that's not what I'm
Mm,
saying at all. I'm saying if money is tight for you, this could be an option depending upon the
right.
person. Not because not everybody is open to that type of system,
Yep.
but you could do that as well, as until you get the money to hire a coach. I would definitely suggest hiring a mentor or a coach at some point in your journey because like you said, someone who's 3 or 4 years ahead of you, they were where you are right now. They know. So it's about finding the right people to help
Yeah.
you on your journey for sure.
And they can catapult that growth.
Yeah,
So what
absolutely.
led you from where you were at with your photography and then to transition into really supporting and helping women? Because not very often you see men specifically focused on women. What made that your target audience?
Well, it did actually start in my photography world because when I leapt from corporate, I started out, well, I had my business running part-time while I was working in corporate, and I was creating art and exhibiting and selling my art at art shows around Toronto. And before I leapt into entrepreneurship full time, I started doing free shoots because I wanted to get into, I had gotten connected with a boudoir photographer who was based in Florida through a mutual friend. And I fell in love with that genre and the work that she did. And so I ended up mentoring, again, another mentor. I ended up mentoring with her. And that completely shifted my perspective on genres of photography. And I wanted to do what she was doing because I just thought it was so incredible and powerful that, you know, you could show a woman who she truly is in a light that she may never have seen herself in before. And so I mentored with her for about 6 months, I think it was. And I just knew when I was done that that's what I've got to do with my photography business. That's the type of work I want to do, is to help women step into their confidence and own who they truly are. And so that's really where my journey into women's empowerment started, is through the photography piece of it. And then, of course, there is a through line through all of my work and the photography, and then of course the podcast, and that's storytelling and providing a space for people, women's stories, to be heard and to be seen, because through photography it's visual storytelling, of course. So it was just kind of, I almost want to say it was like a natural progression for me. I wanted to, with the photography, I love doing it. It's my first love and my first passion, but I found that I wasn't able to reach as many people as I wanted to. And so I thought, why not start a podcast that is in the same vein? It just takes it to a wider audience, gives me more reach. And that's what I wanted, was to reach more people. So I reached out to 7 or 8 friends of mine, women who had met my photography journey, and I asked them if they would help me get the podcast off the ground. I'd never in my life ever interviewed anybody, not a soul. I mean, I had my audiovisual background because I went to school for television and audio production, video production. So I knew that stuff. That was easy. But the interviewing piece, that was a learning curve. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just fucking, I'm just going to figure it out. I'm just going to jump in and do it. What's the worst that can happen? So I
Right?
did that. I did that. And I published the first 8 interviews. And then my photography business started to pick up traction. And I thought, well, I left corporate for a reason. I've got to shift my energy, my time, my focus back to the business. So I shelved the podcast. And then, of course, we fast forward to March of 2020. We all know how that played out. And so I had to shift again, because I don't like using the word pivot. I hate that word. I had to shift again into back into the podcast because I couldn't be booking shoots. So I jumped back on the podcasting, and it has been 5 years now, and it's just been an incredible journey to be able to have a platform that helps to elevate and amplify women's voices. So it's been this constant through line of working with women. And I would say the biggest pieces of inspiration, or biggest people who have inspired me in this, are my mom and my grandmother. My mom, I was raised by a single mom, my mom, and my grandmother, who was always there, always part of the story, always part of my life. She was like a second mom to me. And so those two women inspired my journey. And I didn't, of course, I didn't know it at the time. I didn't really, funny enough, it didn't really hit me or strike me that they are the true inspiration and my why for it, until the podcast, until I was in that journey. And even then, it wasn't till probably about a year into it that I realized, wait a minute, they are why I'm doing this. These are two incredibly strong and resilient women who have been through the shit, and they are an example of what it is to be resilient. And so they are the inspiration behind all of it.
I love that. I love that. And you're right. Like oftentimes, like moms and dads typically have their roles. And yes, it tends to be the moms
Hmm.
that have the power to plummeted through different shit than the men.
Yeah.
And men have their shit, don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
shit. It's normally more physical and more in that nature
Hmm.
when it comes to the dad. Like even here, like me and my husband, he's the one that takes care of the yard. He's the one that turns his place into an oasis. He's the one that builds all the beautiful structures that we have. But it's the women that are dealing with the unseen stuff, the
Hmm. Yep.
emotional, the spiritual, the
They're the
crazy.
rocks.
Yes, and the men, they have that ability too. It's just that they tend to, and it's because of history too,
Yep.
tend to take
Conditioning.
on
Yep.
that role
Uh-huh.
of, taking care of the physical. And you're right. Like even my dad, I remember when I first told him that when I got laid off 2 days before my
Hmm.
50th birthday, and I was like, yes, this is the time for my life to start. And no time better than now. And
Hmm.
the universe spoke, laid me off. So I was like, great, this is perfect. But I remember telling my dad, because my mom passed away when I was 23, and you're right, she was the rock. Shit happened after that.
Hmm.
And I remember telling my dad, I'm not going back to work right away. I'm diving into my own business. And he was like, oh my God, Ann, be careful. Because I don't have any business people in my background.
Hmm.
And so he goes into all the negative, and I was like, stop, 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 cut, like time
Yep.
out. I
Hmm.
said, Dad, I did everything you told me to. I went and got an education. I went and got a good job. I was making over six figures, but I
Hmm.
said I didn't fucking love it. And I
Yeah.
said, I have sacrificed half of my life. That's providing I make it to 100. I've sacrificed half of my life 2 days before my 50th birthday to get what out of it? I still had all the exact same bullshit struggles you did, just at a
Hmm.
higher capacity. So
Yep.
guess what? I said, you want me to be careful? I can't afford not to stay quiet. And not that
Hmm.
I have a reputation of being quiet, but it's not been hitting the masses. Let's be clear and honest.
Yes.
But I said, think about it. Everything that you know that mom went through with her abusive first marriage, her
Hmm.
upbringing, I said everything you guys went through with the sick boys and then her passing at an early age because my dad was 50 when she died.
Wow.
And yeah, like he's widowed and like I was 23 and I said to him, I said imagine the impact that woman could have on people today if she was still alive and
Hmm.
could speak her voice.
That's it.
I
It's
said
about
she's
using
not
your
here.
voice.
And I
Hmm.
said that the torch has been handed.
Yes.
So
Yep.
let me fucking run and stop with the fearful bullshit.
Yeah.
Let me fucking run because I'm her voice. I've been
Hmm.
through my life. I'm the voice for my life. I'm the voice for other people that have experienced the similar things that we have.
Hmm.
And that's the only way
It
to
is.
be able to change and break those cycles. So let me run. And I've never gotten anything negative from him since
There you go. See, so
because
many
he
people stay
realized.
stuck in fear. They
Yeah.
stay stuck in it and they don't do the things they want to do because it's paralyzing. I think that to a certain degree, fear and nerves are a good thing because it keeps you grounded. And this is something I still experience before I do a photo shoot. I get really nervous before I do a shoot. And I think that it helps me to remain grounded because then I don't go into a shoot thinking, "Oh, I got this. This is easy. I'm gonna kill it, and it's I have no worries." It helps to keep me grounded. It's when it gets to the point where it paralyzes you and stops you from doing the things that you want to do. That's when it becomes a problem. It's a very fine line um, that we have to stay on the other side of. Fear is what are the false evidence appearing real? It doesn't
Hmm.
exist. It's not there. It's this trying to keep you safe. It's your ego trying to keep you safe. That's what it
Yep.
is. And it's okay to have a bit of fear. I think it's good.
Yes.
I think it's
I
a good
agree.
thing. Keeps you
Yeah.
from getting too
No,
big for your britches, as they say, as they used to
that's
say.
true. Yes. It helps us identify boundaries and
Hmm.
limitations within, you know, there are some limitations we need to stay within,
For
but the
sure.
unlimited work of the good, the being the
Hmm.
force for good is unlimited. We get
Yeah.
to pick and choose what that looks like. But
Hmm.
yeah, you don't want to be jumping off a cliff without having your safety gear to catch you.
No, definitely
You don't
not.
want to you don't want to be rappelling if you don't have any experience without the safety
Mm,
gear. So
yeah.
yeah, you're 100% right. But I mean, like you say, there's that fine line. And even
Hmm.
for me, like I have a very dominant, strong personality. So people would often look at me as fearless, but I was riddled, like staggering stock with fear
Hmm.
because of all that shit I was brought up with. It just got masked and hidden because of the
Yep.
jovial personality and the outward aggression. Because I lived in survival mode. So I was always in
Hmm.
fight mode. So people
Hmm.
didn't see me as fearful. They see me as the one that had the voice for everyone else. Like they'd come to me to
Yeah.
voice for them. And I'd
Right.
do it not even realizing that I'm like, this is not my place.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
all, in the back of my mind, I was like, there's somebody that's scared to voice. I understand their problem. I'll go say it and do it for them.
Hmm.
And, it's not my place to do that.
Yep.
And it took me a long time to realize that, but it's in learning to navigate your voice versus someone else's voice.
Yes, for sure.
And that was a big learning curve for me as well, because I had to learn not just to do it for myself, but I realized I have a family that I've been constantly speaking for. I have a
Hmm.
child that struggles with special needs. So yes, I'm her advocate.
Yes, of
what
course.
what you know what good parent wouldn't be? But at the same
Mm.
time, I'm looking at other parents that have kids with similar needs, much more advanced than her. She's high functioning, that struggle to speak.
Hmm.
And for
Hmm.
me growing up, like there was an aspect of me I couldn't understand at one point. How can they not?
Hmm.
And then when I started doing my own personal growth and the evolution started happening, it was like, holy shit, I totally get why they can't. They're riddled with fear because of what could happen next.
Hmm.
And the whole, like, it's all fear. Everything is that keeps us stuck is all fear based.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what was your pivotal point to help you move past that fear to be able to step into your truth and really, really navigate to where you are now? Because, like you say, it doesn't end, it's an evolution.
It was the mentorship. It was realizing, shifting my mindset. I think having a routine, having something that helps to keep you grounded. Um, I have what I call my MMJ practice, which is movement, meditation, and journaling. So every morning I'm out for an hour, hour and a half long walk. I come home, I meditate, and then I journal, and then I start my day. I get into my work, and it, it it's hard to keep it up sometimes. I fall off. I'm human. I make, this happens. I get into different stuff. Sometimes I'll come down and I'll just jump right into work because I have things to do. I've got things on my mind that I've got to get done, and the practice falls away. But when it does fall away, I feel it. You
Hmm.
feel it. It really helps to keep me grounded. It keeps me focused. So that was a huge thing for me, is putting in a routine in place for myself. And it doesn't have to be the same thing as me. It could just be getting out for a walk every day, clear your head, getting out in nature, whatever it is. It can be just journaling. It can be just meditation. Some people don't like meditating, and that's okay too. Figure out what works for you. Figure out what helps you stay grounded and stay focused. And like I said, the gremlins still chirp in my mind from time to time. But like I said, I have the tools that I've gained along my journey to learn how to turn that volume down a little bit quicker. Um, but it's constant. You have to continually work on it. So I'm still working on it every day, but I have what I've learned from my mentors. I have what I've learned from friends. Um, Speaking with other entrepreneurs, go to conferences, attend online conferences, watch YouTube videos about mindset, and all of these things will help you. And those are the things that have helped me in my journey for sure. But it's still,
Yeah.
like I said, it's a constant work.
Absolutely. And I love that because I do what I call a priming every morning, which is very
Hmm.
similar. So I'm not out walking for an hour, but it's definitely breath work, movement,
Hmm.
meditation, journaling, the gratitude piece.
Yep.
And you're right, when you fall off, you really notice it, you feel it.
Hmm.
And I'm the same way. Like you get busy and you get crammed, all of a sudden you hit
Hmm.
that busy period and you drop
Yep.
off, but you notice it when you drop off.
Hmm.
And that's one thing I noticed is all the big, big successful people, And when I say big, big successful people, I mean people who we know in society that are killing it in the motivational space,
Mhm,
the entrepreneurial space. They all have their rituals and their routines.
mhm.
And, Tony Robbins says it, and so do so many others. Success leaves clues.
Yeah.
So what are they doing to keep themselves, like you say, grounded, focused, and in state of what it is they need to do that's going to matter?
Mhm,
And that's been a huge piece for me as well. And like you said, having those skills and those tools, before I couldn't catch the shit when it was happening because it was constant. I was in a work
mhm,
environment that was, constantly throwing challenges at you every minute of every day. But it took a big mind shift swing to realize that probably 60 to 80% of those challenges were of my own doing because of
yep,
my own perception and meaning I was giving it, the feelings, the emotions, everything attached to it. Could have shifted it all and changed it all, and that's like people who get stuck in victim mode. They're stuck there because there's a payoff. There's
mhm,
something they're gaining out of it. So until that payoff becomes painful enough that they actually want to shift and move from it, they're never going to get out of it. They're never going to move from it. And that's the disheartening part for me because I know they're worth so much more, but I can't make them move. They
No,
have to move themselves.
that's right.
But having the tools in your toolbox, like you say, to catch yourself and recognize yourself, that's been a big deal for me to maintain what's going on up here because this will make or break you at the
Well,
end of the day.
the I think most important and the biggest tool is self-awareness. You have
Hmm.
to realize that you're doing it first
Yes,
and admit
absolutely.
it, being willing to admit it, and then to take aligned action to do something about it, to shift it. So
Absolutely.
those are the biggest steps for me. And I
Yep.
think anyways in my journey, what I've learned is the self-awareness piece. For
And that's
sure. You
key.
have to be aware.
And that's what I
Mhm.
teach on because, like I said, for me, it's one thing to be aware. I used to say this shit can't be it all the time. Where do you think the name of the podcast came from? I
Yeah.
used to say this, so I was aware, but not hyper aware enough to realize what path I needed to take to change it. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of my biggest mottos is not just aware, but hyper awareness to
Mhm.
be able to shift and change and then take aligned action to say enough's enough. This shit's it. It's going to stop. It's going to change and it's going to change now. And then the path opens up to which path
Mhm.
you need to take. People
Yep.
start coming into your field and away we go.
Yep.
This is
And you are
awesome.
the
So
only one that can do anything about it. No one else can do it
100%.
for you. As
No,
you
people
said,
can show
you are
you the
the only
path.
one. Sure.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. People can help guide you. They can help
Mhm.
lead you, but your everything is within you. It
Yep.
just has to be
For sure.
tapped into. And that's where I
Mhm.
needed help. I was like, I'm aware I'm missing shit. Help me tap into it. And that's what it boils down to. But that's all it boils down to is helping other people helping you tap into it because they've been there.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, can I just add one more
yeah,
thing?
absolutely.
I want to really stress that it is okay to ask for help. It is not a
Mm,
sign of weakness because there's been so much conditioning around that, oh no, you have to figure it out yourself. You have to do, no, you don't. That's bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that right now, and I'll call bullshit on it every day, all day. It is okay
agree.
to ask for help. I think it's a sign of weakness not to ask for help. Lean on the people that you have around you, lean on your support system and ask them for help. It's okay.
I agree. It's detrimental not to ask for help.
Hmm.
And again, I had learned that the hard way because, again, I was taught to stand on my own 2 feet. So all
Hmm.
the shit with my mom passing away, I tried to do it on my own. And oh my God, that was the worst part of my own adult life was dealing with all of that. 8 years it impacted me.
Hmm.
If I had asked for help, it might have only been a year or two.
Yep.
Choices, right?
But
Choices.
it's made you who you are today. So it's all part of the journey.
It is. It certainly is. That's where the gratitude comes in because now I can
Yes.
recognize it that I had to go through all that shit in order
Yep.
to get here and be here
For sure.
and
For
show up the
sure.
way I'm showing up. So this is awesome, Brad. So what is it that your business is all about now? Who is it that you help? And I'll make sure all the links to connect with you are in the
Mhm.
bottom of this video, in the description, so people can connect if they want to connect with you. But
It's become multiple pieces now. I mean, I help teach people to become in-demand podcast guests. I help people start their own podcast. I have the Empowered Spirit Academy. Cecilia and I have the Empowered Spirit Academy, where we help people craft their talks and become visible, gain confidence around visibility. But those are the three main things. And I just love being able, and of course the podcast, that's the staple, that's the foundation of all of it, is sharing women's stories. So podcasting is a huge, obviously the biggest piece of it all, and then there's the photography and all of these things, but the podcasting piece is the biggest one. And just coaching people and teaching people how to become good guests and step into the visibility, own their story. First of all, realize that they have a story to share, because every single person on this planet has a story. And I think that it is your duty and your responsibility to share that story, because it will, I can promise you, I guarantee you, it will impact at least one person's life. And that's part of why we're all here, is to be in and of service to one another, to have impact, to create impact through our stories, to share our stories, and to use our voice. So those are the
I
things.
love that. I love that. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I got to say, and I know a lot of people are going to feel it, we sometimes feel like our voice doesn't matter. We don't know what to
Hmm.
talk about. Now,
Hmm.
when people say, "What do you want to talk about?" and you can add to this and correct me if I'm wrong, it's like,
Hmm.
well, pick which part.
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
got
yeah.
10,000 things to talk on now, where before I didn't feel like I even mattered. I didn't
Yeah,
have anything.
absolutely. I hear that from so many different women. What
Yeah.
I don't, who wants to hear my, I don't have a story. First of all, I don't have a story. Second is, who's going to want to hear it? There is somebody out there that needs to hear it. So
Right.
use your voice. You were given a voice for a reason. It's time to step up to the mic and start using it, for sure.
I love that. I love that. You hear that, women? Step up to the mic. This is awesome. Brad, thank you so much for joining me. Like I say, I'm going to make sure all your contact links are in the video
Thank
below
you.
so that people can reach out and get their voice heard, figure out their own
Yes.
story, map it all
Yes.
out, delivery
Hmm.
so it's powerful, got punch.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
love that. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't thank you enough for being here. And you've been an integral piece of me getting here. So thank you.
Thank you. That means the world to me, and I appreciate that. And thank you for the opportunity to be on your stage, to be on the other side of the mic. It has been an absolute pleasure and an honor. It's always a joy speaking with you, Anne. So thank you so much for the opportunity. And I just appreciate you and your support, your cheerleading, and of course, your friendship.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, my love. Take care,
Thank you.
everybody. We'll talk again soon.